The Sperrin Mountains in County Tyrone contains a secret, or at least it did, one that could be worth up to £3 billion. For decades, individuals had speculated that the mountains contain gold, but it turns out now that they do. And a Canadian firm wants to start mining. However, the public inquiry into the application to begin mining there has already received 40,000 representations. The vast majority of them objections. Peter McKenna is Community Relations Manager with Dalradian Gold, and he joins us now on Newstalk. Afternoon, Peter.
Good afternoon, Sean. How are you?
When did you start poking around the Sperrin Mountains looking for gold?
Me personally.
Well, the company
really.
you represent.
I was born. Yeah. Well, it's the company arrived here in 2010, but the story goes back much further than that. People discovered a gold seam here. It was actually the same group, I think, as discovered Tara Mines in County Meath. And they came up and there had been talk about gold in the streams for a long time. Not that we took much notice as locals, but these guys came anyway, and they found an exposed vein just straight across the river from my house in the early 80s. And an effort was made back then to extract gold from it and to get a license and to dig a tunnel. But explosives were needed to drill and blast, and the 1980s and the social unrest and so on. The project foundered at that time and really stayed asleep until the noughties and until post Good Friday Agreement.
And now, what's the situation?
Well, Dalradian bought the rights to the company and acquired the licenses from the department in Belfast, the exploration licenses for the area. At that point, the known resource of gold was only what you would call a couple of 100,000 ounces, which puts it in the very small bracket. They began a very extensive exploration program over a 10-year period, which involves drilling small holes into the hillside, about the thickness of the downpipe in your house. And anywhere that they intersect vein material, that vein material is taken out, sampled, and part of it sent to a lab in Galway, and then measured, and from that is extrapolated and calculated the known resource under the ground. And so that has grown with the investment until the planning application is now in for resource of something in excess of 3.5 million ounces of gold.
Yeah, how exactly is the gold extracted? Because there had been a bit of a row last year that they might be using cyanide, though as I understand it, they're not going to do that now.
Well, the gold exists in narrow quartz veins that are, say, approximately a metre wide. And they sort of fall almost vertical at an angle down into the hillside. And there's about 17 or 18 of them falling into the hillside at about 50 metres apart. Those veins of rock are taken out using a method called narrow vein mining. That rock, that material is crushed, and through a pretty simple flotation exercise, the gold bearing material and the other minerals that are in there. There's a substantial amount of silver and copper in the deposit as well, and but the concentrate that contains the metals is floated off, and that's sent away overseas for refinement. About 3 truckloads a day.
Yeah, but in the original process where they were going to use cyanide, what have they replaced the cyanide with?
The process is going to now be done offshore, and the process is going to be done by smelting. So it's going to be done by heat. It's going to be in an existing facility overseas,
right,
say
okay.
America, Canada, and maybe in Europe. And so really, that process, that cyanide process that some local people had difficulties with, and the community listened to that, and the company listened to the community on that issue, and removed that part of the process, and now so we're sending the concentrate overseas for smelting, and
right,
that
okay.
actually enables us to take the copper out as well as the silver and the gold.
But there would be explosives used, would there?
Oh yes, you have to drill and blast. There's long holes drilled into the hillside, to create like a roadway. Something the same as what happens in County Meath in Tara Mines.
Right. Now, so, and obviously you're from the area, so you must have some sense of just how divisive this is among the people who live around you.
You're never going to be all things to all men, and not everyone ever has the same opinion about everything. And that goes down to every kind of development, Sean. I'm sure you're aware when, if it's a shopping centre, if it's an airport, if it's a new roadway, there are going to be differences of opinion. Wind farms, etc. There are huge differences of opinion on, and but what we've set out to do is to engage with people throughout the process. We've said, please come and talk to us. We'll explain the process, and usually when we do, it helps, and it helps an awful lot, and it shifts the dial and moves people towards a deeper and fuller understanding of the project. But what we do in order to do that, and in order to create the right template for that, we invite people onto the site and give them an opportunity to get suited and booted. We run what we call tunnel tours, where 10 people can go underground with a couple of guides, so they can see the gold veins in situ, and it sparks off the conversation and enables people to interrogate us fully on any fears, worries, or hopes that they might have about the project.
And the Greencastle People's Office, this is this permanent protest group who are there. Have they been down to see the mine? Have they been invited to come down and see the mine?
Yeah, we continually invite everyone to come. Unfortunately, some people choose to stand outside and protest. And look, that's everybody's right, Sean. Engagement is what it's all about. The planning process is an engagement process. And then there's going to be a public inquiry at the end of it all, and that's further opportunity to engage. Unfortunately, not everybody responds and comes and has a look around. If they do, they're more than welcome. Anybody and everybody always is.
And obviously people would have, and you've explained the cyanide thing, that's not an issue now, but presumably people would have an issue with the use of explosives and whether that's going to put particulates in the air and that kind of thing. Can you 100% guarantee that this mine won't cause any pollution?
Look, every human impact, every human activity, Sean, that takes place on the face of the earth. Driving home from work this afternoon will create a carbon footprint. What we're trying to do here is to bring a fantastic project into the local area. We've actually declared that we're going to be a carbon neutral mine, and so that any carbon that we do create, we will purchase offsets. We will also be creating a couple of the metals that will be able to enable other industries and other the rest of society to sign up to the commitments that we all need to make in order to become a carbon neutral society. So, the use of copper, the use of silver in solar panels, these are all important issues, and we'll be able to locally produce those metals here for use.
Peter, thanks very much for speaking with us today. That's Peter McKenna there, Community Relations Manager for Dalradian Gold. We're going to take a break.